welcome back to the show, Bandecdotes. We are sitting here with the bassist and the vocalist of Skullgate. We have Ben and Andy. Andrew, do you have a preference?
Either or works. Most people is Andy.
All right. Ben was calling you Andy, so I didn't know whether you work up to Andy and you have to start at Andrew. Maybe by the end of the podcast, you'll be Andy, and that would be an amazing moment for people.
It's like a time of life thing. I think Ben started with Drew way back, but it's evolved into Andy. I don't know where they all come from, honestly.
Nicknames. It's just how they happen, you know?
They just happen, man.
If anyone's is unaware, the Skullgate is an Ottawa, like, would you guys say, like a thrash hardcore sort of crossover band?
Yeah. That's what we like to say.
It's a good way to call it.
Super metal hardcore band.
Best way to go about it.
Metallic hardcore. I like to call it like that, like a metallic hardcore.
We call it metallic
like metal hardcore. Sometimes Metallica core.
The Metallica
I believe didn't we? I think we won that
best Metallica
award from
record.
You guys too. So
it's not.
We're
so
a huge
subtle.
fan of that. No,
yes.
There's a lot of that kind of like edge, like that like subgenre of hardcore coming out in like nowadays, which is like it's super cool. But you guys are killing it right now. It's obvious when like a band can like try and phone it in as like okay, these are some of our favorite bands, but like you can tell like you guys have been listening to this kind of stuff for like ever, and like this is like a love letter to that. Like almost like this is like we're into it. Like we obviously appreciate hardcore and we can like develop it into this like these cool tunes, but like at the root of it, like we're all Metallica fans. We're all friggin' here for like the '80s thrash, and like like it's like you can it's very well crafted, and I think you folks do it very well, and we're huge. I think we're huge fans of all this new stuff. You guys got new tunes on the way that you guys have sent us that haven't actually been released. We're super thankful for that. That's super cool. Yeah. So for anyone listening, I don't know when you guys have plans on releasing that. I don't even know if that is breaking news. We might not even keep that in the interview. I might have to bleep that out. Who knows? I'm going ahead. I'm steamrolling your band.
I mean, it all depends on when this interview comes out. That's kind of the thing. So depending on when it comes out, the songs might already be out. You know? We'll see.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a bit about the new singles, or do you want to just leave that for something else?
What do you think, Andy?
I mean, we could talk about them. And it all again, it depends when the interview comes out, but we can dig into them a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, no. Like it's super. Like I think it's like an elevated sound for what you guys were what I was just talking about. Like it's that what I've just said, but like and more.
Yeah, that was.
It sounds really good. I really appreciate that.
I think that was the idea. We the EP was kind of not a rush job by any means, but we were very stoked on starting this band, and we wanted to hit the ground running. So we really streamlined the process to get in and get some shit recorded and really show people what we were working on. And then since we got that stuff down, we've had these new tracks in the tank that we've been really trying to fine-tune and get more of like a defined sound to what we were trying to do, I think. And I feel like we captured it very well as far as we're concerned, and we're able to tackle a lot of it ourselves on the engineering side, which I think helped a lot. There was a lot of in-house production, well, pretty much all in-house production for them, so that was a big part of
the only thing
the elevation.
As I say, the only thing we did out of like ourselves is really the mixing and mastering. That was it. Like we went to a studio to record drums, but we did it ourselves, and then we did all the guitars, bass, vocals at basically our like jam spot / studio. Like our guitarist Holden is starting like to record some bands and stuff as well. So it's pretty cool to be able to put out stuff that we want to listen to at the level that we want to do it as well, because that was the big thing, is like we like riffs, but we also want people to like move around and, you know, maybe some fists and stuff like that, right? So,
a little control.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
It's nice with that music.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about it. So Holden is starting a studio with your other guitarist, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
With Jacob?
So Holden's been tackling a lot of the engineering. Jacob, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then you're the other guitarist who wrote on Kingdom of Misery was Scott, right?
Yes. And Scott had a big hand actually in both of these two new tunes. Well, one more so than the other was pretty much all Scott. He laid the groundwork for that, and we were working on it prior to the changeover. But the bulk of that song is all him, his thick riffs.
Heavy hardcore background with Scott, so that definitely helped influence our like startings as well. Because Scott and I used to play in a hardcore band together a number of years ago, so like that's kind of realistically how Skullgate started. Was we were just friends who wanted to play music together again. You know, like different. Each of us have like different connections, kind of thing. So
yeah. You were
most of us all played
saying,
together
Andrew,
at some point.
You were saying, Andrew, that like when you were getting the band started, it was very like important to have like a definitive sort of sound. And I think I agree. I think you guys like completely nailed it. Like there's a very much a Skullgate vibe. And I noticed that right off the bat, your guys' visuals really helped wrap the whole package into something that you can really like make sense of immediately. It's like this like Dungeons and Dragons ass, like it's like not power metal imagery, but almost. You know what I mean? It's really cool, and I think it really wraps. Did you guys know from the very beginning that that's the type of like visual imagery you were going to go with too?
I think so, yeah. A lot of the actual visuals themselves, Ben has been great for outsourcing and like really finding the right shit to get the idea across. Like I think everything has pretty much come from his research, but pretty much out the gate we knew we wanted to be like pseudo concept band. Yeah, like the name kind of kick-started it, and then I just really wanted to write not super serious like fantasy lyrics. I didn't want to like think too hard about writing about real life shit, because like, you know, there's a time and a place for that, but we wanted this band to be more of like an escape and like fun. So the concept kind of was born from that.
Yeah, the imagery is honestly like super cool. I like that. Like, by the way, shout outs to Holden for like hooking us up with some merch. I got the yellow the sweater. I think you get the long sleeve tie. I like people have stopped me. So like actually like I just got back from doing a tour with Hellbent, and like I typically bring like one or two sweaters, and I brought the Skullgate sweater, and like several people have like stopped me and were like, "What is that sweater?" Some people thought it was like a Hulk Hogan sweater because of like the colors, and like there was someone who's coming up to me like, "I don't even know what that is," and like they just took a picture of it. It's like, I need to listen to this band. Like this is cool. So you definitely like. I'm sure you've gotten some new people at least checking you out at the very least, like just through me and that sweater. And, but no, it's super cool. What I also want to point out, so like Ottawa's a place where it's got this like scene that exists with metal, but it doesn't seem so like. The hardcore scene. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me, please. Like, if I'm out of line and I'm not speaking of it correctly, stop me. But like,
you're doing fine.
I've played there a handful of times with like with my metal band Sinner, and like we've always found that like it's just been like a kind of disjointed. And even with my hardcore band Hellbent, like there is some people who are into it, but like they don't always come out for the shows. Like I know that there's some really good promoters there, but like as soon as we learned that you're from Ottawa, first of all, thank you for putting this on the map, because that's what we need. Because I know that there are bands like we shout out Soul Thief and who are the other boys? The name is slipping me right now.
Maybe Moratorium. They're friends of ours.
Moratorium. Oh yeah, Moratorium. Those are the homies. I've played a handful of shows with those, and even when I've played a handful of shows with Moratorium, I just don't feel like they are even getting the love that they just should be deserving.
Definitely not.
So I don't know. Is there anything you want to speak about necessarily about that? Do you want to shine a light on maybe what's going on with the Ottawa scene? If there's anything to speak about.
Yeah, I mean, I can take this a little bit. So Ottawa's a funny place. We love Ottawa. We've been here forever. We've played in bands here forever. I don't know. We've been part of the music scene and, again, different facets for each of us over the years, basically. And yeah, you're not wrong. Ottawa can be very disjointed as far as the scene goes. We have a pretty thriving punk scene, honestly. There's great venues like House of Targ, the Dominion, which also does metal stuff, and we've played there as well. And then we have some some other venues as well that definitely the punk scene is pretty decent. The metal scene can be good. Hardcore scene is hurting, honestly, right now, not gonna lie.
There was a time.
We're low on bands. Yes. Oh, there was a time, and that's the thing, is where it's gone through phases. It's there was a time when we had lots of bands, lots of people coming out to shows, but this is pre-COVID times, and it's tough. We lost venues during and after COVID. It's hard because also Ottawa's kind of considered that B market. Most shows are going to go to Montreal or Toronto or both, and then because people from Ottawa will drive to Montreal and shout at the Montreal homies and the Montreal hardcore lifers, all that. But that's the thing, is we get skipped a lot because Ottawa's sleepy Ottawa. That's kind of the way it's been known to be. But that's the thing, is we were hey, hopefully we can play some shows, we can do some cool stuff, and then maybe other people pick up some instruments or want to book shows or want to do some stuff like that. I'm starting to book some shows as well again. Only booked a couple, but we're trying.
Speaking of shows, you guys have a show coming up July 5th in Ottawa with Prowl, Apes, and Soul Thief, and that is a stacked lineup. Yep. That is crazy.
Yeah.
We're super stoked for that one. It was rescheduled. It was supposed to happen in February, so it's been our first show in a bit. We were supposed to have a show in June, but it didn't happen, so it's been a bit of a gap since we played last, and we're very stoked.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like... It feels a lot longer than it actually has been, because we had the Land Back Fest, but I don't think we've ever gone this long with a show since we started the band.
Yeah, we've played other than the very beginning of us jamming and stuff like that, it's been pretty consistent with shows. So we've had a little bit of a break, but there's reasons. So we've been busy.
Yeah, we've been doing things.
and I will say, the one venue, Dominion Tavern, I've actually played there with Hellbent, and you guys actually had I had a decent crowd come out. It was more of a punk affiliated show, but I feel like it's you guys are. I feel like you guys recognized what was happening, and you're kind of trying to do what's going on. You're trying to do your best, and I think that it definitely just does need to be acknowledged. I just didn't want to go past that without just kind of saying that I was kind of shitting on it. It's you guys, you very much said our B market, and hey, you guys are doing what you can. There are some Salem Trials was the band that I was trying to think of. Yeah. They're another cool band that's from Ottawa.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're killing
super cool. So speaking, you guys have obviously played in previous bands. This isn't a first band for either of you, no?
No. Ben and I were in a pop punk band together a decade ago now.
Pine, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Neighbors.
Was it
was
the
that
band?
Pine?
Oh, okay.
Oh, Neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, you were in a band called Pine, right, for a bit?
Yeah, Holden and I played in that for most of our 20s, so that was the big one for us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You guys did some cool things with that. Like I vividly remember Pine like actually coming around and playing shows. Because I think I even I had like a very like an emo band like in the early like it was like 2012ish, and we actually came out to Ottawa and played a show with Super Heaven. Before they were called Super Heaven, they were called Daylight. We did like a show at Cafe de Cuff.
I think I was at that
and like
show.
yeah, no Pine. Yeah, hell yeah. I played in a band called Shook. It was a weird band.
I remember that gig.
Yeah, Pine. Yeah.
That was like right after Jar came out.
Pine. Yeah, right after Jar came out. Yeah, you get it. It was
dope.
great. It was a good time. Yeah, Pine did some really cool stuff, right? You guys ended up recording in the States, yeah?
Well, we were supposed to record in the States. That was a whole ordeal, actually, that didn't end up happening. We did record everything in Ottawa and Toronto, but we were on No Sleep, so like American label, and like, I mean, for whatever that's worth. And then we did a lot of touring through North America for like 7 years. It was a crazy time.
That's insane. Where's the farthest you actually traveled from home? Like where the farthest would you be? Did you guys end up playing in Europe?
I never played in Europe. No, Pine was strictly North America. So I think the farthest we had would be like McAllen or like Corpus Christi down in Texas. So like we were pretty avid goers of the southern states. Those are some of our favorites for shows and people, honestly. But yeah, that's about the farthest as I went. Holden's done the Europe with his old hardcore band. But that was like 15 years ago? I don't even know. 10 years ago, probably? A long time.
Yeah, when they went to Europe was a while ago. It was definitely probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, like right after high school.
What's Holden's old band?
Constraints. That was like the glory days of Ottawa.
They ended up playing Europe, eh?
Yeah, they did a full run.
Crazy.
And like young.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's when everything was like pretty big, like the
Heartfest.
As far as like the hardcore scene in Ottawa and surrounding areas, yeah, Heartfest was definitely like a big one.
Heartfest, yes. Oh, I forgot about Heartfest.
Yeah,
damn,
those are the days.
R.I.P. man.
No, Ben, did you ever get to travel far with like a band previously?
No, I've never done like super far stuff. Like Ontario, Quebec's pretty much like all I've played. Scott and I used to play in a hardcore band called At Odds, and we did a little run with a band from the States called Misgiver. So we did some stuff around Ontario and a little bit of Quebec. Andrew and I, when we were neighbors, we played again Ontario, Quebec, and stuff like that. But definitely lots of shows, that's for sure. So
for sure, radius, lots of gigs.
All the shows.
Yeah.
That's super. Have you guys have you come out east at all, Ben? Have you ever done the East Coast leg?
So I've been to the East Coast, but I've never like played out there or anything like that. Right. So I've been to PEI a couple times. I've been to New Brunswick as well. But it's been a few years. Like I went with my girlfriend and her mom to New Brunswick probably like 6-7 years ago kind of thing now. But yeah, no, the East Coast is great. I'd love to do like a little rip out that way. It'd be awesome.
That's super cool. So yeah, Andrew, when you guys when Skullgate starts doing some crazy touring in the States, you're gonna have to show Ben all the ropes. You're gonna have to show him all the rest stops and what you got to do when you're on the when you're on the tour. So is there a go-to gas station stop? This is something I normally ask in like the later half of the interview, but like we're at it right now. Like, is there a go-to gas station snack that you go that you jump to when you're at those long stops sometimes? And I know in the States they have like better rest stops than just like the 7-Elevens that happen out here. Like, you know, they get the sheets and Buc-ee's and Wawa. Yeah.
Wawa,
So
Buc-ee
like,
sheets. Yeah, all those.
yeah.
Buc-ee's is the holy land. You never go back once you see one of those.
So what's your go-to at Buc-ee's?
Ooh, I mean the Buc-ee's jerky is famous. But I don't know. After a long ride, I just like the fact that they have nicer bathrooms than I've ever seen anywhere in my life. That's probably the best part about Buc-ee's to me, is a comfortable place to rest in between a long drive in the hot south. But they're just an enigma, man. They're just something to behold. It's weird when you come from up here and you see a Walmart-sized gas station with everything you could imagine in it.
I was going to ask how big they were, because I've seen videos of those places and they look huge.
Oh, dude, they are the size of a small Walmart. The parking lots, I think some of them are 100 pumps or something. It's silly.
Jesus.
It's like, if you park on the far end, it's a journey. We had to go for a modium for our drummer at one point, and as you can imagine what a modium's for, we parked far from the entrance, and I've never seen a man move so fast in the hot sun to get inside of a gas station. It was dangerous.
Oh boy, yeah, that sounds like a bandecdote in itself.
They'll come up.
Yeah. Is there any influences that come out of Skullgate that necessarily aren't Metallica, are the things that you gravitate towards that somehow influence you in the way that maybe you structure songs or even melodies?
Definitely, I'd say with song structure, at least a lot of when Holden and I will talk about writing and stuff, just with our experience with the poppier side of things and being in that world, we try to adopt as much of that as we can into getting a hook, roping someone into the song and bringing back what they want to hear, but also those cool happens once, doesn't happen again kind of moments that deep listeners want to hear. So definitely from a songwriting side of things, we try to implement a lot of those techniques, I guess, as much as we can, while still keeping it heavy, obviously.
Are there any bands specifically that influence you?
I don't know, but on all of the early stuff where especially with Scott, there was I don't know how many people picked up, but there's a lot of Alice in Chains influence on quite a few parts, I know. Yeah, that was a big part of Scott's writing, and that was a big part of something we try and keep going with a lot of the things we write, because it was one of those weird things we tried to work into that style of music, was that Jerry Cantrell kind of droney, 4 on the floor, just straight beat stuff. So that's definitely one that we hide in there. We sneak it in where we can.
Big riffs. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is there's definitely also, the nail on the head references, you guys said already. Metallica is a big one. Holden loves Metallica. I think all of us do as well, but Holden loves Metallica.
There's the intros to some of the songs, people come up and they're that sounds like a Metallica song. Holden's well, actually it's 3 Metallica songs, I just turn them into one. We don't avoid it, we don't pretend that it's not a riff, because why would you? It's an homage.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, while we're talking about Alice in Chains, they were a huge pinnacle part of the 90s that I don't know if everyone gives them their flowers as much as they deserve. We talk a lot about Pearl Jam and Nirvana and all the bands that come out of Washington, but there are so many parallels with Alice in Chains and Nirvana. The crazy parallels that actually happened with that band. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they had Kurt and Elaine had the same heroin dealer. There's so many fucking things that and they had such tragic endings, both of them, and I don't know if people are listening to enough Alice in Chains. Like, please, if you haven't listened to an old Alice in Chains record, you know what? A lot of them are so good, but go start with Dirt and fucking 100%. Maybe then go to Facelift and then do self-titled or the one with the three-legged dog. I can't remember what that was called, but hell yeah, fuck yeah, Alice in Chains.
I feel like in recent years they have been getting like a decent amount of love just with the bit of grunge resurgence, but like it's taken too long. Like we got like, you know, Soul Blind and some of these grunge bands that are like definitely those influences are coming through, and I fucking love to hear it. But I agree, that they deserve their flowers way more. I didn't get into that band honestly as much as I should have, admittedly, until about 5 years ago probably, and it was mostly because of Scott. Like he just loved and Holden actually. Holden was a big Jerry Cantrell guy, so that was the door open for me.
Yeah, they're such a cool band.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing is the writing with that. I mean, Scott definitely picks from did pick from a lot of like hardcore influences as well. Like Iron Age is a big one, you know. Of course, Power Trip too. You know, everybody loves Power Trip.
Everybody.
But like, I don't know. And then we all have our own, I guess, style, and we all write together too. Like we work on all the songs together, so it's cool. I love the way that we write, honestly. Somebody brings a riff and we just expand on it, and then the nice thing too is we can record it pretty quickly. So
and with a lot of the newer stuff, like for outside of the box kind of influence too, is like Jacob, our newest recruit there that we picked up. Like he's a younger dude. He's 19, and he came from essentially like the Midwest emo world. Oh, he's 20 now. He's 20 years old now. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, he's 20 now.
But yeah, like his other band, Delonia, shout out. But they're straight up like Midwest emo influenced, pop punky, that kind of shit. But you know, he listens to Periphery and like the prog stuff. But he's just like a shred star, that kid, and so he makes it work. Like he pulls those influences out, and like we have to tell him to dial it back a little bit, if anything, a lot of the time. But it's cool to see that influence.
He's gnarly. Like he's a great guitarist.
Yeah, I can't speak
for his age. I'm like, I wish. I wish I could play guitar like that. That kid's sick. Like it's great, and it's cool too because like his playing really complements Holden's playing, because Holden's a super strong like rhythm player, so like them together is just perfection. It's great.
Got the flavor.
So is it Holden who is mostly doing like the production work and stars, because you guys are doing a lot of the in-house stuff, or is it like every one of you has like a hand in like doing one thing? Like is it like all hands on deck, or is it somebody who's like kind of leading the pack like more so than the others?
It's definitely
I mean, as far as like production, like Holden is generally he's engineering most of it, and then Jacob is also like they're working kind of in like unison together for it, but it's definitely Holden's like leading the way in that sense. But we all have parts in that as well, you know, again, as far as like input goes, or just you know, using our experience from doing other stuff as well. Like Andy's done some stuff at home as well too, like his own little recording, so he definitely helps out with all of that. I used to do some recording back in the day. I don't remember any of that now, so I'm no use to anybody. But
Jacob's kind of just he's learning how to mix a lot through this stuff. They're trying to kind of team up, where Holden's handling a lot of the straight up engineering and like the technical side of that, and then Jacob's just doing a lot of the mixing and mastering as much as he can. Just trying to, a big part of it is to try and be able to do almost everything in house ourselves, ideally, because just streamlines the process, but also because we don't really have a lot of places for smaller bands to record in Ottawa to help them get that kind of jump start and get a quality recording. So they also, a big part is trying to offer that, like not rip bands off and, you know, give them a quality product.
Now, I just want to get into a little bit of the weeds with this, because I just want to crack into this a little bit more. Like you guys said that you guys really like your writing style and the way that you guys do it. Now, are you guys one to, write a song, demo it out, and then like listen to it back and go, here are 10 things that we can change about this song, maybe we can amplify, or like, is this a song that like, we can bang out and then we can record it and then it's done, and like that is the song? Like we go into, I guess what I'm asking here is like, do you go into the recording process with a finished song that you don't think that needs any tweaking, or do you go into a demo kind of atmosphere because you have the freedom of Holden being able to like produce and engineer all these tunes?
Yeah, we definitely take advantage of being able to demo our stuff out, like having the space, because where we jam is also Holden's house where we record stuff as well. So if we want to work on a song, we can literally just plug everything in and record it because it's pretty much set up. The gear that we use makes it easy too. Like we can pretty much record direct out of both Holden and Jacob's heads. I have a Sans amp for mine, so I can plug straight in. We have a mixing board that we can record through. Like, I mean, and we have enough mics to mic pretty much the whole drum kit. So like we can demo, and that's usually what we do is we'll get a riff, kind of jam it out a little bit, extrapolate on it, and then try it and see what happens, and then see what everybody thinks about it, record some stuff. Like we're working on some new stuff, and like we did one song pretty much almost in one jam, and then we kind of come back to it, and then we're like, okay, I want to change this part kind of thing, just to trim the fat, also change up drum parts or whatever, make things flow better. And that's pretty much how it works. Easy.
Yeah, we're definitely pickers. We like to pick apart our stuff, and like have, for sure, the 2 new tracks coming out, we demoed and re-demoed and retracked and re-demoed those many times. And I think we're trying to, again, streamline that a little more with the new stuff and kind of be better with getting down final tracks so we can't go back and tweak them to our wits' end, because that's kind of the drawback of having so much accessibility for recording. Is if we wanted to, we can tweak all day for months, but there's something to be said for having there's something to be said for having a timeline and like another engineer that you're working with that can be like, no, we're done, I'm not retracking that for a 17th time. Because if it were up to Holden and Justin and me and Ben and Jacob, like our parts will probably never be good enough, and we'll just keep redoing them over and over. So someone eventually has to make the judgment call and be like, this song's done, let's move the fuck on.
Right, yeah. So like it's just almost too much freedom at that point.
Sometimes,
with being able to, but like, it's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's been super helpful.
It's also good to work on, again, like just getting the songs to where we want them to be, to where we're happy with them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like Andrew was saying, is sometimes we're hard to please, and it might take a bit.
I don't think that's a bad problem to have. I think like being a band that wants to like perfect a sound as much as you want to, I think that's a good problem to have. I think there are worse things that you guys could be chasing after. So, no, kudos to you guys. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think we could jump into some of the Bandecdotes. So yeah, this is the segment where we talk about some of the most wildest stories you have from being in bands. Andrew, I imagine with touring North America, you've got a handful of somethings in your pocket with like all sorts of weird and wacky segments and situations you found yourself in. I could start us off just because actually I have a bit of a Bandecdote myself. That like last week or so actually did a run with my boys in the band Hellbent, and we were touring with the band Dayglow Abortions, which are like an old 70s punk band.
Hell yeah.
Super cool dudes. We were all packed in this passenger van, and we opted out for the trailer, and what we bought was like an extension of the van. Like I think you've probably seen this, where you could set up a bunch of merch boxes on the back there, and you could kind of save yourself a little bit of storage. Except in our case, they only had cardboard boxes and they didn't have totes. So we were going through BC with cardboard boxes strapped to the back of this. And I don't know if you've been out in BC, it rains all the fucking time out there. So we were just fucking like, we had to keep an eye on these melting boxes. Every fucking show that we came by, we had to like strap them up with duct tape, and then halfway through we like at a gas station just like found this like scrap metal that we just kind of like makeshifted and like ratchet strapped together and tarped over and made this like, by the end of the tour we actually kind of made this like almost like it's just like a shelter for a little thing, and like it was so sketchy. Yeah, it was absolutely, it was bananas. It was so stupid looking, and we easily could have gotten pulled over for us being like, what the hell is this? Like, it's just like sharp metal that could fly off of the car. Like, so bad. But like, yeah, any story like that would be appropriate.
That's a story. That's for sure.
That just sounds
like, why not just buy didn't at that point, you know?
It's not in the budget. It's just not in the budget.
That's good. A lot of things aren't in the budget.
Before you guys jump into it, I'll be back in 1 minute. Just continue without me.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Andy, you go ahead and do your thing with your tour stories. I can think of a couple from when we were in Neighbors.
I was going to say, I feel like we should stick to the Neighbors era since it involves both of us, and we were young and dumb.
Sure.
So that's the most fun one. But I mean,
so dumb.
Quickly, if we're talking Skullgate, there was also the obvious knee debacle in Barrie, Ontario. It's probably the only fun thing that's happened to us in this band. Where my kneecap decided it didn't want to stay where it's supposed to be when we played a show there. That was a bad time.
During your set?
Yeah, we were probably 2 songs from the end of the set, and I'm not sure if I
Song and a
half. Yeah, we were almost there. We almost made it.
Yeah.
But I stepped.
Almost. We're so close.
Yeah, I was beside Ben, and I'm not sure if it was an uneven stage or if I stepped on a fucking crack or if I'm just too old for metal and I need to be careful. But it just felt like a pop, and I hit the ground the next step, and the rest of the band thought it was all part of the show for a bar or two until I was able to flag Ben down to stop it. And when I went to feel my kneecap was far to the left side of my leg, not where it's supposed to be. So we stopped that show real quick. Ambulance took a bit to get there. We got there. Me and Scott ripped off to the hospital. Doctor was dope and popped that thing back in as fast as possible. Got me out of there in a full leg brace and crutches. We crammed it into an Uber back to the venue. When we get to the venue, and Holden's on the phone, I think with Mike from Street Justice or Rob from Rust, because we were playing Hamilton the next day. And I just hear him, he's like, I don't know if we're going to make it, like Andy's knee broke. And I was like, dude, like, why? We're closer to Hamilton than we are to Ottawa. So, like, why don't we just stay in a hotel and drive to Hamilton and rip the gig tomorrow? Like, if I got to sit down, I'll do it. It's better than not playing a show. But we were touring as we normally do in a pickup truck as well, with 5 guys and a bunch of merch bins crammed into it with all our gear. So, as you can imagine, not the most comfortable with a dislocated kneecap and a full leg brace. For Hamilton wasn't so bad, but the drive home to Ottawa from Hamilton was definitely not a great time. So that's our most fun one since this band has started, I would imagine.
Oh, that sounds so painful.
Yeah, I'm gonna add on that just a little bit. So yeah, we're almost done our set, and like Andy goes down, and I thought he just fell. You know, it just happens. There's a stage extension on the stage, and that's basically where he like tripped over kind of thing, or misstepped, or maybe his knee just didn't like it. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. But I looked and I thought he was gonna get back up, and then kind of played, like he said, like another couple bars, and then he wasn't moving, and then I just see his eyes look at me, and I'm like, okay, and then I see his knee, and it was just, I probably have a picture of that somewhere still, but yeah.
Oh, I for sure do. We can send one over. We can like superimpose it on the screen with a trigger warning. It's not great.
Yeah, that'll be good for our channel.
So,
great.
Yeah, that'll be good for our channel.
Sideways.
So
yeah.
So finishing that set was like out of like that was not in the cards.
They started tearing down. I think it was who was that? Oh, Shuttleway was going on. So we were just like, guys, like, just set up around me. I'm still sitting on the stage because I couldn't get up. So we were just like, just set your gear up, like set the kid up. Or when the ambulance gets here, the bartender asked me if I wanted a beer, and I was like, is there an ambulance coming? And he's like, oh, I guess I should call that, eh? And I was like, yeah, man, like maybe before the beer, we call the ambulance to come get me because this isn't good. That was a rough one.
Yeah, somebody tried to move him, and I was like, no, do not move him. Leave him right there. Let them do the thing that they need to do, and we'll be good. So, yeah, there's that. I guess there's also like, cool venues. Should we mention the Montreal cool venue?
Oh, the old Trackside.
Yeah, Trackside.
Oh, shout out to Trackside. I've played there. Oh yeah, I love Trackside.
That place was
that's definitely unique.
I loved it, but like,
so I would love to hear your guys' definition of it, because I think I've talked about Trackside a bit on the show, but I would love to hear like what you guys think of it, where you guys come from, and I may even be able to fill you in on some details that you may not know about the place.
Sick. I feel like that place has lore.
So I mean, yeah, I've heard it's got some lore. We talked to I believe one of the owners or one of the people running it when we were there. They told us that it was a venue before, changed kind of thing to Trackside a few years ago, and how they run their shows and everything. I think it's cool as far as like the community aspect of Trackside, like how they have their own basically just people who just come out for the shows basically every weekend, you know. It is definitely a punk venue, for sure, and it is a fun place to play. But as somebody who is a non-cigarette smoker, it's a little rough if you stay in there because we played in the winter too. So
I was gonna say the winter part was a big, I think, one for us. Finding the place in essentially a snowstorm, being led through the building by random dudes that we ran into that we were like, hey, they look like they know where the venue will be, and they immediately bring you into the buildings so you can go through. And I think, was I with you, Ben, or I think it was with Justin? And we were just like,
it was. I think all three of us went.
Yeah, and we were like, I don't know if we're gonna get out of this building because this is terrifying to say the least. But once we got to the venue,
we might get mugged, maybe.
Yeah, we did. We just asked some guys, and they brought us into a building full of graffiti, and we were like, "This is okay. This is fine." I think someone was drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels just like in the open. It was sick. I was like, if this is where we're going, this is dope. Once we got to the venue, though, it was all good. That was Jacob's actually first show out of town, I think, ever, and especially with us. And he was 19 at the time, and he'd never been really in the metal hardcore world, let alone the punk world of underground Montreal. Like, we've all had our taste of it probably through the years, but he thought it was just the coolest place that ever existed. Like, we were like, you are tainted.
It's going to be
my
hard
friend.
to top that one.
Yeah,
it's going to be very difficult to ever top that experience for him because there's not very many places like that. It's like it's definitely cool vibes, and we even played there on a Sunday.
Yeah,
and it was good, you know, like.
It's got like something like an 80s like when you see an old 80s movie and there's like a scene of them at like a punk show and it looks like it's like they're in this underground place where a bunch of people are like hanging out like chain link fences, like that is like the vibe it gives you, like this like straight out from an old school movie, like a place that you never thought would ever exist. This like makeshift kind of like, the upstairs is so cool that you can actually like look down on the band, like that's super cool. And like
it's kind of like the vampire rave from Blade. I got a little of that in the legs.
I was gonna say it's like Roadhouse meets meets Cannibal Corpse from Ace Ventura.
There you go. Yeah, this
way
is
more
great.
accurate.
This is good. Yeah,
like people are betting on the bands from the upper levels while they're playing, like just throwing money, like
They're like, that guy said 3 breakdowns. You said I bet 4 breakdowns in this song. Give me all your money.
Underground punk betting. No.
Could be the next wave. It could be the next wave.
Could be a thing.
I like that. So that whole building is like an actual like apartments for like people who like kind of squat and don't actually like pay a whole lot of money to like live there. So like, and that Trackside is the bar that like that's the built-in bar. They also have a built-in drugstore where you can buy drugs and like not like a Shoppers Drugs Mart. Like
we're not like, talking ibuprofen here.
Yeah, you can get whatever you want, and it's a cool place. I really like how it's like quite literally on the wrong side of the tracks, and like having to find that place you guys found in a snowstorm, like having been there several times, I can only imagine how confused, like one of the worst load-ins ever, because that back, like
I was gonna say the load
boardwalk, I don't even know what to call it, like it's just like skids thrown together, and like
it's a lot.
Do I have to bring my bass cab for that? Or was the Moratorium bring all the stuff? I think Moratorium did.
Because I remember being like, imagine if we brought the 810.
Yeah, because loading that in through there when it was like all icy and bumpy and shit, like, oh my god, that would have been... Andrew would have broke his other knee. So I
was going to say, there goes my other knee.
Yeah.
There goes your other knee. Yeah, shout out to Trackside. It comes up quite a bit. Anytime that like a band goes to like Montreal, they're like, have you heard this place Trackside? Like, oh yeah, this place. And like I played it before. It was like, I played it when it was called like the Fatel, and it was like 20 times sketchier. Like if you think that like you feel a little uncomfortable how it is now, like think about it. Was like I swear one time I almost got mugged there. Like I almost got mugged there, and like nowadays I think it's cleaned itself up a bit. I think it's actually gonna get like a really cool built-in audience, like you folks have been like mentioning. Like, but yeah, no, shout out to Trackside. We love that.
I mean, they have their own beer.
Good spot, honestly. Yes.
Yeah,
the branded beer is pretty tight.
We've also always been fans of, like, I mean, going back to when we played Neighbors together, like house shows and like that kind of stuff anyways. So we like the more intimate feel, you know, and that was definitely an intimate venue. So yeah.
Sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're used to sweaty rooms full of a lot of people shoulder to shoulder. Like Neighbors was primarily a house party band at one point, I would say. Like we had a jam space that was called aptly Dude Manor, and we would throw keggers there with bands from Toronto and Montreal, I think the States, like the Hotelier played there. We just used that as an excuse to get as many people as we could under one roof and potentially destroy this place. But it was like a scene house through the years. Multiple factions of people, like booking agents and musicians, lived there and just handed the keys over for years. So we felt like we had to keep that going, and it got deadly sometimes. There's some videos on Facebook floating around of those parties happening and potentially getting broken up, and it was a good time. Anything like that is the world we thrive in.
That's super crazy.
I was gonna say I booked Seaway there one time, and like,
oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it was like so.
That's sick.
So it was fun. A basement show with Seaway, and
safe to say.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Safe to Say also.
This was the Ottawa. This is an Ottawa venue.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't necessarily like a venue. It was just we threw a house party, and had a keg and all sorts of fun, and it was a good time.
It's in a Seaway music video.
Right?
No, they did that.
Yes, it was before Leaky Bees. Leaky Bees opened up when Dude Manor, like everybody moved out, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was kind of
interesting. They kind of just like
picked up they were down the street from each other.
Or sorry, the street. Yeah, the street over. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was
good times.
So, like, you guys were the ones behind running those shows?
Not, well, like, the ones at Dude Manor, yeah. Leaky Bees, no. Leaky Bees was some other friends, some of the guys who lived at the house and stuff. And that, I mean, that house had some shows. Like, they ended up having to not post the address anymore because of bylaw and everything. Because, I mean, Let Live played there. Like,
yeah, Let Live played there. That was insane.
That was wild.
So that was a gross.
So having run like a punk venue house show kind of thing, and like having, how many shows did you have a month, let's say?
Oh, we weren't as many as Leaky Bees was, that's for sure. We only did I think we did a handful. It was more like stuff would happen there. We'd have band practice that would turn into hangouts after, that would turn into maybe some people coming over, you know. And then, but we did definitely have a couple shows there, but it was not like a venue like Leaky Bees would have been more considered, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. So just like, is there any worse moments or like surprises that would have happened coming out of those shows? Like, is there, you know,
UFO,
anything outside of like a UFO? What?
There was a secret set basically during that Seaway Safe to Say show, and they played, and it got hectic in the basement. Like, I mean, the furnace got shifted, and there was a bullet box that got knocked over with a bunch of bullets in it and stuff. And
shotgun shells all over the floor.
It was just fun times. Just crazy hectic times when you're 19 and 20 years old and such.
Someone left a box of loose bullets on the ground.
Yeah, don't ask me.
It was on a shelf.
Not me. Yeah.
We don't.
People got routed.
Someone's dad. Yeah.
That's the worst of the gun violence here in Canada. It's just some bullets in a box, gets kicked around. Nobody gets shot. No guns.
Just the shells.
Yeah, just like it got pretty rowdy, guys. Like, someone was kicking some bullets around. Like,
I remember at one of the other shows though, like crowd surfing in the basement of like, you know, a regular house,
like a 7-foot ceiling.
Also, like, so. Yeah, with like a 7-foot ceiling, and you're just like hanging along like the beams across and stuff like that, crawling along the top of people. It's just, you know, just fun stuff that happens.
The vibe. Did you say like the Dude Manor was in Seaway used Dude Manor in a video?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember which video they did. I don't know if it was a full video or a promo video, but
they did the kegger tour. I think it was a video for a song. So they did that like kegger tour at, like, it was all house parties, and they just like took segments from each of the house shows to like compile into a video. It was just like they were just having a chaotic tour through Ontario.
That's super cool. Super cool. And you guys get to offer that for them for that. That's super cool.
It's aptly enough in another snowstorm because Canada. So
yeah,
exactly. So what can we expect for the rest of this year with Skullgate? We got more secret songs coming out? Do we have more touring in the books? What can we expect? I know what we can expect: a bunch more cool merch, because I mean, you guys got that in the pocket for sure.
The merch is definitely one of those things that we're like, we like to do well with, you know, like we like to do cool pieces that are different, you know. Everybody has a black hoodie, so we're like, let's do yellow, you know, like, so
love it.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be more merch coming at some point. We do need to get some more stuff printed. We were gonna do some summer stuff, but I don't know, we gotta see what's up for that. So I know. Well, obviously we have our show at the beginning of July. So with Prowl and Apes and Soul Thief. So that'll be fun. We have some shows in the works for later this year, but they're not announced yet, and we're still trying to figure a couple things out right now. So, but we're definitely this year's more of like a kind of chill year. We're gonna write some more, hang out, but not as hard on the shows this year, I don't think. Andy has a new little one, so congrats, Andy.
Oh, congrats, Andy.
Ah, thanks, man.
How old's your baby?
She's 2 months now, so fresh.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah,
fresh. Yeah.
So hence
my son just turned 17 months, but yeah, I get you.
We'll get there, but yeah, lots of music definitely happening. We got a lot of half songs in the chamber that we've really got to just buckle down and flesh out fully. So we've been working on that a lot and making use of the space. And then the new stuff is coming soon. We're hoping that's going to be something that grabs a lot of people's attention. It's like Kingdom. We all love Kingdom. It was a wicked first EP, but the new stuff I think we all feel even more strongly about. We're pretty proud of these ones. So hopefully it gets across the point we're trying to get to, and then you're just going to keep building from there.
I feel like that's one of the things is you're always going to love your first, that was our first EP, that was our first offering, right? Yeah. So we love it, but yeah, that's I mean, as far as our new stuff goes, it's going to be
more
cool.
mature.
I think people are going to dig it because yeah, and I mean, as well as we're really happy with the production on it. We were talking earlier. I think it sounds awesome. We really like how Kingdom turned out, but I think if we were to do Kingdom again, we would try and make it, sound a little bit more like what we have right now. So, because I guess. Well, I mean, again, depending on when this comes out, the songs might already be out. Fucking whatever. It's Friday. You heard it here first. So.
Oh, this Friday coming up.
This Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so this won't be out by Friday, so this will come out after. So feel free to talk in any way as if those have already come out. Yeah.
Perfect.
Sweet.
That works. So.
Yeah, Friday the 14th.
Yes, 14th. So you should have already heard it and listened to it.
Awesome, perfect. Let us know what you think about the new Skullgate tunes. Leave it all down below in the comments. Let them know on their social medias. Is there anything else you guys want to plug? Any of the social media links, Bandcamp links, anything that you want to share before we get out of here?
Plans.
I mean, as far as social media, maybe. Andy, you take the video thing while I get all our handles up and everything. So,
videos. We don't know how we want to go about it. It's always a topic we bring up, and we have some videographer friends that are definitely want to work with us and have some ideas and things. But we're being, I think, a little choosy with how we want to go about it and present ourselves, because our social media presence as it stands is pretty hidden, I guess, ourselves. There's some live shots, you see us, but we don't have any band shots yet. We don't have any real videos other than some live performance stuff, and we kind of like the idea of keeping it that way to a point where we have access to another jam space where we're thinking of doing some live off the floor content, full set idea but higher quality, and doing more that approach than maybe a produced actual music video. Having some more, because we like our performance. We're a very performance-based band. We write to play shit live. We write for that release and for that reaction. So I think we'll never get our point across better, I think, than us doing it for real. So I think that if we were to do anything, would probably be the next thing we did, aside from just recording tunes. But yeah, no plans for a full production of a music video. We just, not to be I don't know, lame old crusty dudes, but like so many video concepts are like overdone and outplayed and stuff when it comes to metal and hardcore. Like it's so hard to avoid tropes and shit that's, and like there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's good to
I'm
have
not
content,
playing in a
it's good to have
warehouse.
shit.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be in an empty room with a single light bulb like screaming into the light bulb in a shadow, like it's in a forest with a girl. Like I don't, there's so many things that are just like the obvious things. So unless we could come up with some like high quality fantasy Dungeons and Dragons production. I mean, at one point we did have the idea in the air to have an animated video with Kingdom. We have some animator friends, and that was something that was tossed around that could be cool.
Which we should still do.
We had some grandiose plans. Like we wanted, we had stories and comic books and like cartoons and like all this stuff that we would love to do in a perfect world. But we also have to flesh out the story a little better for those kind of things and have some money to do those kind of things. But we like our concept. We like the dark fantasy side of everything, so we'd have to lean into that if we were going to do anything, which is hard to do without being extremely corny, and we don't want to be extremely corny.
Should we start a GoFundMe for the Skullgate tabletop RPG?
Dude,
oh hell yeah,
all day. I'm into it.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be sick.
I can write a DM handbook for that.
That's the thing. Yeah, and that's the thing is like when fans kind of like, or people who like our music get that, and like,
oh yeah,
we've had people just post stories, be like, listening to Skullgate makes me feel like I just beat a dungeon boss or something like that. And we're like, that right there, that's what we want. So
yeah, that makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and that's the thing is like, yeah, we want to write more, we want to play more shows and stuff, but we're kind of keeping ourselves open for a couple things right now, and we'll see. I think again this year's going to be kind of more of like a chill writing year than anything. We've played some shows earlier in the year. We're still looking forward to Prowl and stuff like that, but we are going to be doing like some release shows and stuff as far as like the new songs go, because we are doing some physical stuff for that. So
oh nice.
That'll be cool. Later this summer. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess for us, for socials and stuff, Instagram's our main one. Follow us, Skullgate HC. Trying to think of what else, but most of the stuff's in there. It's all in our link tree. We have Twitter, but we don't really use Twitter very much, or X, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know. Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Insta's generally our main. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
You guys aren't making TikToks?
But yeah, no.
No. If Justin had his way.
If anything, maybe Justin. Maybe Justin or Jacob will do some stuff, like solo
the young ones.
Instrument stuff. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, you heard it here first. If you have any Dungeons and Dragons bosses coming up, we've got a soundtrack for you. Definitely check out Skullgate's Kingdom of Misery. That was the earlier EP, and by now they've got new tunes out, so please go check them out. It's a two single release. That's what we got going on. Yeah, definitely go check it out. We're super stoked on it. Thank you again for the merch that you sent us, Skullgate. I do I have to hide them because my son will play with them all the time, but I have the Skullgate pick right here.
Hell yeah.
We got time
like I said, I have to hide them though, because my son will just start playing with it, and it's chokeable size, especially for his age. So we don't want that to happen. So we have to hide the Skullgate picks, and they just so happen to still be in arm's reach right now. So shout out Skullgate. Thank you, Andrew and Ben, for taking the time to do this with me. This has been a great interview. We really appreciate you making this work for us, and definitely giving a little bit of a taste of the songs before the world got to hear them. So really appreciate that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
One more shout out.
Absolutely.
One more shout out, Lifers. Montreal hardcore again. That's like our second home basically, because
nice.
I mean, we're the only Ottawa band that they deal with currently, at least. So I mean, shout out them. They did our tapes. They're the ones doing like our physicals for our new 2 songs that will be out at this point and stuff. So yeah, big shout out Lifers and
Montreal in general.
Yeah, catch a show.
Supported us hard, and we support back. Montreal rules.
Yeah, big time.
Perfect.
And yeah, start a band, go to a show, book a show, start a zine, any of those things. Just be part and be present, and hey man, everybody can have a better scene that way. So let's do it.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right on.